Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There are not many directors that have a genre named after them, but Quentin Tarantino is one such director. Whether it's tantalizing dialogue or tense building of action or just balls out gore fest, gore fest violent. Tarantino is a one of a kind.
Game to write your opening speech.
I wish I could. Here is Neil, another one of a kind, with 10 Tarantino facts.
Thank you very much, Paz. So here we go. So Tarantino's middle name is Jerome.
That was fucking trippy.
He dropped out of school at the age of 16 to train to act at the James Best Theatre Company. However, he became bored of this after 2 years and dropped out.
And you will know my name is the Lord.
He was an employee of the video rental store Video Archives. Tarantino would observe what people would like to watch and has claimed this influenced his directorial efforts.
You shoot me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
Tarantino co-wrote and directed a movie called My Best Friend's Birthday in 1987, but the film reels were almost fully destroyed in a fire. The screenplay went on to provide the basis for True Romance.
That's a bingo.
After watching Reservoir Dogs, Madonna, who was the subject of the opening dialogue, sent Tarantino a copy of her erotica album with the message, "To Quentin, it's not about dick, it's about love, Madonna."
Don't you hate that?
Hey, what?
Uncomfortable silences.
He has claimed he likes to leave 20% of the movie unseen. For example, not showing you what is in the suitcase in Pulp Fiction. So the movie is really yours.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
He regularly drives around his hometown of Malibu in the Pussy Wagon from Kill Bill.
That was fucking trippy.
And the bad motherfucker wallet seen in Pulp Fiction actually belonged to Quentin.
You shoot me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
And over 450 gallons of fake blood were used in the 2 Kill Bill films.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
And Tarantino was offered the job of directing Men in Black, but he decided to turn it down.
And you will know my name is the Lord.
Is that it, Neil?
That is it.
Wonderful. Oh dear, we've got some discussing to discuss with this one. I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce the one and only Kirsten. Hello, Kirsten.
Hi. How are you?
We're very well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful.
I actually just got back. Ironically, I just got back from taking my son to see Paws of Fury, and Samuel L. Jackson did a voice in it, and of course they had to do the silly jokes, like because it was all cats. He said something like, what the fluff,
right?
Or what the flush instead of
Well, his favorite one is Mother. Did they say Mother Fluffer?
No, they didn't say Mother. At least if they did. I didn't hear it, but I did hear what the flush and what the fluff. So
right. Oh dear. So we're doing top 10 Tarantino movie scenes. Now, I don't know about you guys. This is probably the most fun I've had compiling a top 10, and the most I had to whittle down a 10 from.
Yes.
Kirsten, where were you in regards to how hard this was for you?
It was hard because my initial list, I realized I had too many from my my favorites, Kill Bill 1 and 2 and Pulp Fiction. Those are my 3 favorite. And it was really hard because I picked like stuff mostly from those, and I realized I needed to go to some of his other movies that I also love and find some clips too. And then I had to rearrange the order several times.
Yeah, Neil?
Like we've said before, this is a subject that you could have chosen 10 scenes from each movie, I think.
Yes.
So we could easily have done this on and on and on.
Yeah, I feel we've missed a trick. We could have probably got 10 episodes out of this one subject, couldn't we? We could have done the 10 best scenes from Kill Bill and you just, Reservoir Dogs, and gone through every single movie. I feel like I've cheated a bit on a couple of mine where we're talking about best scenes. I've gone almost like for best 25-minute chunks out of a movie because it's like you can't just pick one scene from that particular bit. I'll explain what I mean when I go through some of mine. But so Kirsten, you said about your favorite Kill Bill 1 and 2 and Pulp Fiction. They're your favorite Tarantino movies.
Yeah, those are I think my top 3 favorite. It was funny because when I was going through and I was rewatching parts of I've seen all of his movies except for The Hateful Eight. I really couldn't get through that one. That one was just, I got like halfway through, and I'm sure if I had held out, it would have gotten better, but that's the only one that I'm not a fan of. And when I was revisiting some of his, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about how much I love this scene, or, the things that happen in this movies. I enjoy his movies because he's always got strong female leads. And I really like that about his movies.
Yeah.
So especially like Kill Bill, those especially.
What ones are your favorites?
Oh, what do you sort of mean?
As in, like, favorite Tarantino movie, not.
Well, I'm still a huge fan of Reservoir Dogs. People chastise me because it was always, what do you prefer, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction? I still prefer Reservoir Dogs. I don't know what it is about that movie, but I was lucky, one of the lucky ones when it was first released in the UK. It didn't garner much publicity when it was first out in 92. And I went to sit twice on the bounce, 2 nights on the trot, and I fell in love with it then, and I stayed in love with it. And then everybody else came on board when the press got hold of it and everything. I don't think he's done a bad movie, has he? Probably his weakest to me is Death Proof.
Yeah, but I like that one too.
Yeah, I mean, I still like it. I think it works better. It is the
weakest, but it's got some good stuff in it. Still.
Yeah, and I think it works better as the shorter one when it's part of the Grindhouse together.
Yes,
it's so much better than when it is expanded. But still, it's still a great. If that's your worst film, you're not doing bad, are you?
Yeah.
See, I don't know if it's controversial, but I've not been able to rewatch Jackie Brown. Yeah, I know. Like all the other ones, I can rewatch, and for some reason, I have a mental block over Jackie Brown. I don't think I can name a scene from it.
Is that because he didn't write it, or because
I have no idea? I have no idea what the mental block is for Jackie Brown.
Yeah, it's definitely a different mood than his other movies. Definitely different feeling, because I ended up rewatching almost all of it this last weekend, and you can definitely feel it's a different mood throughout.
Right. And I think that's because it was not his. It was not original source, was it?
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. I mean, the one thing Kirsten is obviously very happy about. Kristen is very happy about is that we're not doing Tom Cruise movies.
Sorry,
I didn't realize
it's the whole Scientology jumping up on Oprah's sofa. That whole and his attitude about mental health really rubs me the wrong way. I'm a teacher, and so I work with kids who are neurodivergent, and for him to just kind of do that just turned me off.
Right.
Well, he's been local to us as we record this, hasn't he? He's been loitering around where we live.
That sounds really bad, Neil. Let's put it in context. He went to an air show near us. He hasn't just been loitering around by our houses, has he?
Oh, he has been mine.
Oh, has he? Has he been trying to get you into Scientology? Has he? That's what he's been trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, right. We'll have a lot to discuss, I'm sure. So,
let's get into
Kirsten,
the thick of it.
if you would like to tell us what your number 10 Tarantino best movie scene is.
Okay, so this is one I had much further up my list, but I moved it to number 10 just because it's the ending scene of Jackie Brown, where Jackie's trying to get Max to go with her, as she's, got all the money, and it's the end of the movie, and he's like, no, I'm just going to stay here. And just for everything about it was like, they kiss each other, and then afterwards you can see her lipstick on his face. She's driving in the car, she's singing along, and I kept thinking, okay, maybe he's gonna like change his mind and go after her, but he didn't. So I think it was more real, more mature of an ending. It's still a fairly happy ending, but not the ending I was quite expecting. So
great choice.
Right. So who's Max?
Max is Robert Forster. Oh,
right.
Okay. And I was so in love with him in that movie too.
He was like the bondsman, wasn't he? He was like the bail.
He was
the bail bondsman.
Bail bondsman. Yeah. I do remember that. I remember the character, because isn't Michael Keaton in it?
He is the same character that he was in Out of Sight.
That's right. I knew there was some kind of link there. Yeah. I do need to do some research and to
sit and watch it again, because I absolutely love this movie.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay then. That's a great one to kick us off with. Neil, you're number 10 then.
Well, let's have a bit more Jackie Brown, shall we?
Oh God! Okay.
This is my number
Please
10.
tell me you haven't done both of you done 10 Jackie Brown scenes.
No.
I'm not going to be able to.
More.
So this is the scene where Lewis, which is Robert De Niro's character, can't find his car, and he has the Melanie, who's Bridget Fonda, waffling at him all the time. And this is really brutal. You don't realize how brutal it is. He shoots her straight bang in the car park, and then goes off. And it's almost a shock. It's one of these blink and you miss it deaths that Tarantino does so well. But I just think that's a great scene.
It was a great scene. That was one I had, and then I moved because I'm like, I did love it, and it was really funny too, because I was watching it on my iPad because I didn't want my son to see it, but he could hear all the swearing and stuff. What's going on? I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah, but De Niro is fantastic in this movie.
That was so good.
He's he's a great actor anyway, but it's a great performance, and it's one that's not banded around about De Niro, his performance in Jackie Brown. It's so good because he's almost sad in it, if you know what I mean. He's almost a bit of he's not the hard man he thinks he is. But I mean, that scene is brutal, but it is funny at the same time. Oh, hello.
Sorry.
Hello.
You're not supposed to do that. I told him to stay out of here.
Oh, bless him. It was nice to say hello.
Yeah.
I also should say, before we really get into the meat of all this, that we will be spoiling movies. Let me just say, we will be. If you happen to be, why you will come and watch or listen a Tarantino best scenes without watching the movies.
Yes,
I'm talking like that, and I've only just watched like Jackie Brown once or twice. I do remember the scene that he gets shot in though, because that's Samuel L. Jackson that shoots him. in the van, isn't it? Is that right?
Well, it's basically the aftermath of what happened.
Yeah, the aftermath.
Right.
He's like, oh, she dead? Yeah.
Yeah. But the performances in Jackie Brown, the acting in it is sublime. People, they band around like your Christoph Waltz, and he was superb, but Jackie Brown should get more of a recognition for people's acting in it than he gets. Do you know what I mean? They're all so good in it. They really are.
Okay. That sounds, you've sold me. I need to watch it again. I do. No problem. Okay. My number 10, it's one of the things that Tarantino, I think, does really well is have these little enclosed stories within the movies that they're in. And it'll be like independent stories that tell something about the past of a particular character. It's the Gold Watch story in Pulp Fiction.
That is my number 7.
That's your number 7.
No, I put that on my runner-up. I really wanted to pick that one too, but that was like I had picked so many.
Yeah.
The Bridget Fonda scene too was another one of my runner-ups.
Right. Yeah, so it's the backstory about Butch's watch that his girlfriend has forgotten to pick up from his nightstand, and then we find out it's Christopher Walken, who was a soldier friend of his father. And hid the watch up his ass for I can't remember how many years he had it for. And it's the fact that like the way that Christopher Walken says it is he's almost like a little bit effeminate with the way that he says it, and you sort of think, oh my god, this watch that this poor kid is like coveted for years and years and years because it's his dad's old watch, has been living up this guy's ass for 5 years, I think.
Hid it in his ass.
Yeah.
It's the way he says ass, isn't it? But yeah, it's almost mesmerizing to watch Christopher Walken deliver that like monologue. It's just, again, it's another actor that people have forgotten how great he was. He became a bit of a parody of himself, didn't he, Christopher Walken? But he's a fantastic actor, wasn't he? Always looked dangerous to me. Always looked like he could go off and suddenly you never know.
Well, that's why he was like perfect in True Romance. I know it's not a directed movie by Tarantino, but still has a Tarantino links, and he was a perfect like Italian mobster. Just absolutely perfect, because he's got that little glint in his eye that maybe he might start dancing, but no, what he's going to do is he's just going to like just fill you full of holes. He just doesn't. He's got that little devil in him.
Have you ever seen him in King of New York, Abel Ferreira's film?
I watched that a long time ago.
Again, he's so deadly in that.
Yeah.
He really is, but I think he's a great actor.
I do absolutely. Kirsten, then your number 9, please.
My number 9. This is another one I had to move. It was Cliff, or Brad Pitt versus Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was so funny, and I know that scene got some criticism because of the fact that they were kind of making fun of Bruce Lee, that who knows what he was really like behind the scenes. But it was just the whole idea about my hands are registered as deadly weapons, just the whole smack talk, and the fact that he throws him into the car, and then the director Zoe Bell comes in. Just all these cameos of people who start coming out and they're like, hey, what did you do to my car? I laughed so hard. And when I rewatched it this weekend, I laughed even after. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. Some levity in that movie.
It's such a great scene. I think that was my number 11 or number 12 in my extended list. But Brad Pitt is so good in that movie. It is so good in that movie.
Well, let's be fair, both of them are, aren't they? Leo is just superb in that as well.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to pick the scene where Brad Pitt takes his shirt off as one of my favorites, but I figured I would just stick with him.
I kept that one in. No.
Well, I mean, whatever you feel you want to do, Kirsten, it doesn't matter.
It was a short scene, though.
That is a short scene, I must admit. Yeah.
Do you know, I have to say, I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is slowly becoming my favorite. Like I said, Pab's now listened to the audio book of it. If you've never read the book, I highly recommend getting it, Kirsten. It is such a good book.
I didn't know it was a book. I'll have to read that.
Yeah. He wrote it after the film, and it just fills you in so much more, and it's brilliant book.
It's so in depth. I think I'm about 2 hours into the audio book, and it is it's read by Jennifer Jason Leigh, and it is just fantastic.
Oh, awesome. Oh, that would be really good.
It's like 11 and a half hours long, and you sort of feel like I've got 9.5 hours to go, and I'm pre-sad that it's going to end.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's like, no, I've still got 9.5 hours of it to go, but it's really, really good. That's a great one. I'm sort of agreeing with Neil. Hateful Eight had that same feeling for me, that it started becoming, I think, God, is this my favorite Tarantino movie? And then you watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I love the fact that it's just unapologetically slow. And it gets to the point, I've got one of the scenes in my top 10 where you think something bad is going to happen, and you keep waiting for this bad thing to happen, and then it doesn't happen, and you think, oh, right, okay. But you realize then you've dug your nails into your city, because you've been in so tense thinking that something bad is going to happen. Okay, then, Neil, you're number 9.
So this is where Tarantino comes into himself, and I'm going to have a couple more examples of this. Is his dialogue, and I'm going to say Royale with cheese in the car. That whole exchange was the first time, well, it's not quite the first time, but it's almost one of the times where you watch a film and you're actually listening to a real conversation rather than a scripted conversation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And the way John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson are, it was so natural. You felt like you were sat in the car with them listening to that conversation. And I just love it. And who doesn't go into Burger King now and still say, can I have a Royale with
Royale with cheese?
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the most famous, I think, one of the most famous pieces of dialogue that he's done, isn't it? I think probably not most quoted, but the trouble is there are so many great bits of dialogue, but you can't say that that's his strength, because there's so many other bits, so many strings to his bow when it comes to his writing, that the dialogue is just one of them. Whereas
Yeah.
other people will say, oh, his strength is his dialogue, or his strength is his action scenes, or his strength is his emotion in his movies. That he's got all of it. He's got every single bit of that, you know? That's it's should that one person be that talented? I don't think it's fair.
I know.
You know?
It's almost not fair.
It's not
But
fair.
I just find as well, when you listen to him talk, I mean, I find him really fascinating. Some people find him annoying to listen to him being interviewed and talk because he's so quick and he's a bit scatterbrained. But I find him fascinating. But I feel like you know him. Does that mean, do you know what I mean? When you hear an interview or watch an interview with him, I think, oh, I know him. But I've got no knowledge of him at all.
But isn't that? Don't you think that's because he is a movie fan and we're all movie fans?
Yeah.
And all he is he's just a geek that knows how to write.
I think of him as a movie fan's movie maker.
Yes.
Like he's done enough with some of these when we get down into the other ones that he will refer in one of his movies to another movie, and I would go watch that other movie too, just because I wanted to know what he was talking about.
Yes. Yeah. So, and he's not apologetic. He's not apologetic, I should say, that he borrows from other movies. He'll borrow certain, especially music. I mean, he's great, but he knows how to pick the right mood or music for a specific thing that makes it iconic. Just straight away makes these certain things iconic. So that's a good one. Okay, for me, my number 9 is from The Hateful Eight. And it's the realization of that the coffee has been poisoned, and that Kurt Russell all of a sudden just starts puking blood, and you just see Jennifer Jason Leigh sort of in the corner with this evil smile on her face, and I can't remember the name of who was the driver of the. I'm gonna have to look it up. I can't remember the name. I can't remember now. I should have made the note of it, but because he starts puking up blood as well, and then it's sort of where the story starts unraveling in regards to that it's not just that these people are all in this sort of shack for a reason. They're not all just there by chance. They're all there because something is going down because of this Jennifer Jason Leigh's character. I just love the visceral feel of it, that Kurt Russell's just talking and the next minute he just pukes out blood. It just goes everywhere. And I think it goes all over. I think it goes all over Jennifer Jason Leigh, doesn't it? Doesn't he just she's led on the floor and he just pukes in her face? It's just disgusting.
Yes,
but
I think I do remember that from as far as I'd watched it. Yeah,
right. Didn't that make you want to carry on watching it?
Yeah, I think that was probably part of why. Yeah, there was a few scenes with the two of them that I was just like, oh, it was so brutal. It was
really, really bad. But there is. I mean, again, I think The Hateful Eight is, for me, is one of those movies that is very long, is very slow, but for me, I just seem to get just wrapped up in it. Do you know what I mean? There are other movies that I've watched that are slow and long, and you think this is probably the same as you did, Kirsten, that I just don't want to watch anymore. But for some reason, that just got me, and I don't know whether it's because I'm a Tarantino fan anyway. I don't know whether that's the reason that made me.
It's like a stage play, isn't it? It really is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, it's one that when I went to the cinema to see it, I wasn't overwhelmed. I didn't actually particularly like it. And I did say to everybody, I think it's overlong. But when I sat and watched it at home, I enjoyed it a lot more. Sat in the comfort of my own home and just immersed myself in it. It's a grower.
Yeah. Obi was the guy's name. That was the coach driver's name. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's mine. Okay, Kirsten, your number 8, please.
This one again, I had to figure out where I wanted to put this one. It was the bar scene from Inglourious Bastards. The whole, and it was at the time, I remember watching it and not understanding how when they were doing the holding up the fingers, because I'm American, so I didn't know. Anyway, I'm like, what? He said 3. And it's just that whole building of the tension and the way that, like, when he's holding up his fingers the wrong way, the other characters are like giving him this look and like, oh my God, what did he do? And then just all of a sudden, the guns are being pulled, and that whole scene, that was really good. I mean, there were lots of other ones in that, but that one really got me.
I agree. Again, that was very close. I thought I had that in my top 10, but I haven't.
So did I. I just had to look at my list. And thought,
I haven't. And it reminded me, the first time I watched it, it reminds me of Oh God, what's the war movie? What's the famous war movie? The Great Escape.
Oh yes,
When
yes.
when you have Richard Attenborough and Gordon Jackson,
Yeah.
and they've practiced and practiced to always speak German when they've got out of the prison camp, and then one of the German officers says something like "Thank you very much," and they go, "Oh, thank you," and they get caught because they didn't carry on talking German. They spoke English, and that same thing of like not knowing how to do three. I think it was, wasn't it? Doing it either three like that
should
or
have done it
three
like this or something like that.
something
He
like
does
that.
this.
Yeah, just a
I can't
simple
remember, but it
thing
was
that they
wrong.
simple thing that they should have known, but it pretty much kills everybody in the room. And again, it goes from being like this nice where they're all playing a nice simple game to just being this like just massive shootout, which I think
Of course we forget Michael Fassbender's in that bit.
Indeed.
Well, isn't it? We forget that he's in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Brad Pitt, Michael Fassbender. There's a lot of great people in that one.
Yeah. Michael Myers is in
Yeah.
there.
Mike Myers. I forgot the kid from The Office, BJ Novak.
That's
I
right.
forgot he was in it.
Isn't it? Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And Eli Roth as well, wasn't he? He's the
Yes.
the I can't remember what he called, the bear or something.
The bear with the
Yes,
he
he
was
was
the
the
one with
bear.
the baseball bat.
Baseball bat, yeah. Yeah, great one. Go on then, Neil, you're number 8.
So it's another dialogue-driven scene, and it is the diner scene. Like a virgin, I don't tip. That whole bit, they're sat around the table having the conversation. So this is where I was saying, this is where I don't think we'd seen anything like this before on the screen. I mean, you can't even say Kevin Smith was after this as well with his dialogue. So to me, this was where dialogue brought movies into the real life. It's conversations that everyday people would have, if you know what I mean. And it's bloody funny. That whole bit when he sat there going, Chang. And he, and Harvey Keitel has to say, but anyway, just that whole scene is funny. What do you mean you don't tip? So, and I think Steve Buscemi in Reservoir Dogs is superb. That man, he could act, couldn't he? As well as being a hero of a firefighter. But yeah,
he was a teacher too.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we don't seem to see enough of him now, do we?
No. He did a series on HBO, but I hadn't seen anything since then.
Oh yeah, he did that Boardwalk Empire, didn't he?
Boardwalk Empire, yeah.
He did. Did either of you see that series with Louis C.K. that he did? God, Horace and Pete. It was a strange series. It was done like a one set play. It was set in a bar, and they were two brothers that owned this bar, and it was at the point, I think, before the whole controversy with Louis C.K. where he could do what he wanted. They sort of said to him, "Look, make what you want," and I think he was like selling it on his website. So you could pay what you wanted for it, and it ended up going up on I think it was on Amazon or something like that. And it was sort of comedy, but it was very dark comedy. But it was also, it was really disturbing in places, like really, really about mental health and alcoholism. Alan Alda was in it as well, played their uncle.
Oh, wow.
And it was really good. But like I mean, I won't spoil this because in case you get to see it. But the ending was like devastating, absolutely devastating. But like 1 minute you'd be laughing your head off, next minute you'd be crying your eyes out. But it's Horace and Pete. It was really, really strange. Never seen anything like it before. But there you go. Okay, so your number 8 was from Reservoir Dogs, Neil. My number 8 is Reservoir Dogs. You've done the start of the movie. I've done the end of the movie. The Mexican standoff at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Where right to the end, Harvey Keitel is in Tim Roth's corner and saying, you're wrong. He's a good kid. And they have the Mexican standoff. And even now, you still have to slow it down to see who exactly shot who and how that sort of worked and how that standard. And then it's the fact that Harvey Keitel is so good.
It's so cool.
But it's the fact when he's holding Tim Roth and Tim Roth tells him that he is a cop, that he breaks down and he realizes that he backed the wrong horse basically, and the cops come in and say, look, put the gun down, and he shoots him, and everything all just fades to black. But
yeah, a great scene. Harvey Keitel went through a real good spell, didn't he, in the early 90s? And
especially in Quentin Tarantino's movies, especially.
He did,
right?
The Wolf. But then he went, I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea and it's a hard watch, but The Bad Lieutenant, or The Bad Lieutenant, however you want to pronounce it, I think his performance in that is just mesmerizing. I mean, it's uncomfortable viewing. Then he did The Piano. Do you remember, with Holly Hunter and everybody? He had a real resurgence again. I love Keitel. I think he's a great actor.
And then he did a load of adverts, commercials in the UK as Mr. Wolf, didn't he?
He did, direct line.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, for insurance, for an insurance company. Yeah. I thought, my God. I mean, he's obviously getting paid well, and he's using that money for whatever he's using that money for. But all of a sudden, like, Mr. Wolf would turn up. And
what was the last thing he was in? Probably The Irishman, wasn't it? I haven't seen him in anything since he was in The Irishman, and he wasn't in that very much.
I mean, if only there was some kind of way we could find out.
Yeah, he's one of those actors that I could happily watch all day long. I find him mesmerizing to watch.
A Righteous Man in 2021 was.
Okay.
I've not heard of that. He's got 10 upcoming projects, so he's.
So he's working. We just haven't seen it.
He's busy. He's going to be in the new National Treasure TV series.
Oh yeah, I read about that. He's playing the same role again, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
All right, Peter Sadowski. There you go. God bless IMDb.
I love IMDb.
That's what it's there for. Yeah. That's what it's there for. Right, so we're on to Kirsten. Your number 7, please.
My number 7 was the Candyland shootout from what's the name of that movie?
Django Unchained.
That one.
Django Unchained.
Yeah, I've got that as my number 6.
The Django Unchained.
Yeah.
I'm like every other one. I wrote the name of the movie next to it, and I'm picturing it in my head, but I blanked for a second. But yes, that one was another brutal.
That brutal. One was, I think, is probably the most brutal shootout he's ever done.
Yes. I think I would agree. Yeah.
It looks like every bullet really hurt on that one, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like everyone goes straight through everybody and knocks them off their feet. And I can't believe I didn't get that one in my top 10. Nothing.
Yeah, that's my number 6. And like I say, it's a great scene, though, isn't it? And to see that on that's a big screen scene. Do you know what I mean? That's one. That's a cinema scene, because it's.
Yeah, I never did see that one in the theater. I had to watch that one.
It's like, holy shit! That hit. Yeah. What else can you say? But that's hand cannons, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It genuinely looks like those bullets would sting a little bit. You know, they would hurt a little bit. Yeah, and it's the fact that, like, I think if I'm right in saying, like, one guy gets shot, like, right in front, and it knocks him sideways.
That's it.
It knocks him so hard that it knocks him sideways instead of back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal, that one, I must admit.
Yeah, but a great scene.
I mean, I think the one thing with Tarantino is you have to, like, check reality at the door, don't you? Because the fact that he will twist history a little bit. It's very stylized. You look at the people are standing on the edges of swords, and it's very cartoonish, his violence. He gets a lot of stick for everything being very violent, and there's loads of blood, but it's to the point that there is too much blood. It's like cartoonish blood. It's not supposed to be realistic. Well, I don't think it's supposed to be realistic. I think it's supposed to look like a cartoon. You know, to the point that, like, a lot of the parts in Kill Bill that literally was a cartoon.
Yeah.
To make you show that the blood is it's going to be too much to look at in real life. So
and also to get it through the senses, he said.
And to get it through exactly. Okay, so that was your number 7. Neil, your number 7 was the Gold Watch story from fiction.
In the ass.
That's right. You love saying that, don't you?
It's just the way he says it.
Just the way he says it.
It really is.
My number 7 is from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it's the whole Spawn Ranch scene.
Oh, yeah.
Booth visits. That's my number 5.
Is that your number 5?
But it's the tension, isn't it?
It is. And it's the fact that Tarantino does this in pretty much every movie, whereas you think something bad is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that he shoots it is you see a doorway and you think, right, Brad Pitt's going to get his face blown off in a minute.
Yeah, something bad's
It's
going to
something
happen.
bad, yeah. Whether it's the girl that's in in watching the TV, or somebody's going to come out of that room in a minute, and you know that's what's going to happen. But the bad thing that happens in that scene is he gets his tire changed. That's the only bad thing that happens. Then he drives off, and you think, Jesus, I've just lost probably 50,000 heartbeats of my life.
Yes.
Because I've been thinking that this bad thing is going to happen to somebody that you obviously like, because it's Brad Pitt. You like that character. And he's just a genius at doing things like that, where there's not anything to actually worry about. I haven't got this scene. I hope neither of you have. But in Pulp Fiction, after Bruce Willis has come back from, and he's on Zed's bike, and he goes up to pick his girlfriend up. It's one shot, and you see him going up to the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching that the first time thinking, Bruce, you're going to get your head blown off. Somebody's going to be in there.
Something bad's going to be, yeah.
Yeah, he takes, I'm sure it's like a specific amount of time, longer than you think it's going to be. And then he just comes walking down with his girlfriend and there's nothing to be worried about.
Yeah.
And he's just a genius at doing things like that. So,
but that's the thing with Booth. When he walks in, he doesn't seem bothered. He's just so cool, isn't it? And walking through, and you're worried for him, and you're thinking, get out of there, man. But yeah, it's a great bit of direction. That
it's fantastic, and then hardly any dialogue, hardly any words.
No, but creepy as well.
Oh, absolutely creepy. Absolutely creepy. But yeah, that's my number 7. So, Kirsten, your number 6, please.
My number 6 is Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs, and the scene where they're playing Stuck in the Middle with You, and he's cutting
with the ear.
Yes. And the thing is, it was funny because I had rewatched it, and a lot of people accuse Quentin Tarantino and all the violence. I mean, yes, there is a lot of violence, there's a lot of blood, but you don't ever actually see him cut the ear off. It's all kind of off the screen, and then you see him holding something, making all the jokes. But it was just the whole, again, brutality, the fact that it was such a brutal thing he was doing, playing Stuck in the Middle with You. It was just like, it was it took me back a little bit.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. It's so unsettling. That's the thing.
Yes.
It's so unsettling. And it's, I think that was obviously a very, it was a thing at the time when it was video nasties and stuff like that. Tarantino got a lot of stick for that. But you're absolutely right. You don't see anything.
You don't see anything, but you know what's happening. That's what
just
for me really stuck out is the fact that he's going hello. He was like, you can see him holding it afterwards, but it was just the whole, like when he's actually cutting off, you just see the back of the guy's head, and you see he's doing something on the side. You don't actually him cut the ear off, and I think that's worse.
Absolutely.
It's worse.
Absolutely. I completely agree. It's but again, it's iconic, isn't it? It's one of the things I think that everybody knows from Tarantino and everybody knows from Reservoir Dogs is that, and he's made that song into something completely different. Because as soon as you hear that song, you don't think about the person that's wrote or sung that song. You think about somebody having their ear cut off.
Somebody getting their ear cut off. Yeah.
I know. It's a genius thing to do. Okay, so that's that one. Neil, you said Candyland shooting from Django Unchained for your number 6.
Yep.
My number 6. So this one and the next one have both got a bit of a link, even though they're 2 different movies. So number 6, Inglourious Basterds, is the strudel scene with Christoph Waltz eating a strudel in the restaurant. I have a thing about eating on screen. Right, I've spoken about it before on a show many, many years ago. I love watching people eat on screen, and I think it's the ASMR of it all, the sound of it. And I've watched this scene 3 or 4 times over the last week or so, because the way that Christoph Waltz munches into this piece of strudel with cream, I could listen. There's a TikTok of somebody that has just taken all the sounds, and I've played it over and over again. I could listen to that for hours. It's just the whole, is it mastication? That's the word, isn't it? When you're chewing.
Mhm.
There's just something about it. It just sounds sloppy and horrible and gorgeous and gruesome.
You enjoy listening to mastication.
I do enjoy listening to I said mastication. I do enjoy listening to mastication.
There you go.
Anybody
I'll
else
get you a
enjoy
t-shirt with
mastication?
that on.
Now, a lot of people hate that. I know.
Really?
Yeah. a lot
Not
of
when people
actually don't like that
cham
sound at all.
and
Yeah.
chomp when they threw their
Mhm.
food. Surely, Pav, you don't enjoy listening to a chomper.
I do. That's exactly what it is.
Really?
Yeah, you know the scene I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I thought it was just eating, not like.
It's. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's my little kink, I suppose.
Oh, I know what to get you for your birthday now.
When's your birthday? We'll send you videos.
Well, I mean, this is it. I mean, look, I'm going to put all these scenes in the video playlist for our Patreon subscribers, but just watch that scene. I mean, as much as like obviously the scene does move the story forward because this Shoshana that he's got with him that well, I'm sure he knows who she is, and she obviously knows who he is. But it's the way, and it's also the beauty of what Tarantino does, where he will take the minuscule things and the things that mean nothing and make them beautiful. So even the piece of strudel with the dollop of cream on the top, just sounds. The sound design is just. I'm a sucker for ASMR kind of things, you know, popping of bubbles and the rubbing of a beard and that sort of stuff. I love all that. I don't know. I'm weird. I'm sure I'm weird. But anyway, and
He's got their thing, you know.
Exactly, but that's nothing compared to what my number 5 is. So we'll get to that in a minute. I'll leave you worrying about that one. So that was my number 6. So Kirsten, your number 5, please.
My number 5 was when Kill Bill, where Elle's other eye gets gouged out in the trailer. That trailer fight, because it's the whole idea that she's only got one eye to start with, and then she gets a Kiddo goes and grabs her other eye, just plucks it right out of her head. So yes, that whole, there were so many bits from that second Kill Bill that I wanted. I also really loved when they buried her alive, but I'm like, no, that was the one, especially because of their whole, you know, the whole backstory between those two characters and how it finally just kind of ends that way. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And doesn't she stand on it barefoot as well?
She does.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And it squishes between her toes.
That's it.
Yeah. But it's the fact, again, you're waiting for this monumental sword fight. Don't you? You know, that's what they build it up for. And it's not because she says that she killed her master, didn't she? And just the plopping out of the eye. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. And then the feet. I mean, the feet is the
all the feet.
That's the Tarantino kink, is the feet.
Oh, yes. I mean,
especially if it's Uma Thurman's feet. Yeah.
He loves
her feet.
He loves the feet.
We've said about Kill Bill many times, but I still wish he'd do the whole bloody affair.
Yes,
it really needs to be done. You know,
it's weird why he hasn't done it, because I mean, I would quite happily watch Kill Bill 1 and 2 as they are, just one after each other. But it'd be interesting to see what he would do to like mix the two, or just to make the two movies into one movie. I would love to see what that actually was going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be interesting.
I can't understand why he hasn't released it. It seems really, really strange. Okay, so Neil, Spawn Ranch was your number 5.
It was.
So my number 5, and this is for me the ultimate in eating on screen. It's Death Proof and Stuntman Mike eating his nachos at the bar.
Oh, that actually kind of grossed me out.
Oh my god, it makes
just like
he's got it all running down his it's greasy, got it running down his chin, his fingers are all just
gooey,
just like glistening. I mean, I'm not a fan of nachos, but if it was just like crisps or chips with just like melted cheese on, I've done that. I've watched that movie. I've got a big bag of chips, crisps, and melted some cheese on it and just ate it with a glass of lemonade, because that's what Stuntman Mike had. He just munches on it and crunches, and It's just glorious and beautiful. It really is. And I'm just getting far too excited. I really am. It shouldn't be in polite conversation with people and talking.
Do you
about
feel the
things
same
like
way when you watch that movie Alive?
No, because you don't really hear them chewing and masticating on that sort of stuff.
Well, you do, but they don't enjoy it, do they? Around the fire.
I suppose not. But it just is. Like I say, if you're part of our Patreon and you watch our video playlist, I'm going to put that scene in there and you'll understand. You'll get there and you'll think that is beautiful. Or you might be like Kirsten and think that it's a bit gross.
Yeah, that whole thing. But you know what? In that scene, though, it kind of is a testament to his character because he's a disgusting person as it is, because obviously he's a murderer.
Yeah.
But and that would be, of course, a murderer is not going to be a dainty eater unless it's, Christoph Waltz. But
yeah,
but he, it was just, for me, it was that whole just watching him eat was like, had to look away a little bit.
But he doesn't care. He knows that people are laughing at him. He knows that the young kids, and he knows that he could probably kill everyone in that room if he really, really wanted to. But he's just gonna enjoy his nachos and enjoy his whatever he's drinking, cream soda or lemonade or whatever it is. So yeah, that's all my food ones though. I will let you know. That's all my food ones out of the way. And I'm gonna watch that after we've finished, just so I can get my fill. Right then, Kirsten, your number 4 then, please.
My number 4 is The Bride versus the Crazy 88 from Kill Bill.
That's my number 3.
Love that. It's just, it's so over the top gory, but at the same time, it makes me laugh. Like when she takes the one guy over her knee and she's spanking him with her sword. That whole, and it's so funny too, because you see now, like I have a 9-year-old son. We went to go see the Minion movie and they're wearing the black and yellow outfit that she wears. When you see that, it's a reference. And I know her outfit is a reference to another movie, but it's
Bruce
just,
Lee, wasn't it?
That's that was
Game
such
of Death,
an iconic thing. But that whole scene where she takes on all of them and just, comes out on top, it's, and then the spurting blood and everything else. Yeah,
that's my number 2 as well.
Oh,
yeah,
call it the House of the Blue Leaves, because I think that whole section is just
that whole
fantastic.
That whole section of that movie.
Yeah, it's superb, isn't it? It's just because he had his doubters that he couldn't direct action, and then he brings that up, and you're thinking, no, this boy can do it all. He really can, because he was criticized that he couldn't do action until they showed that, and it's just brilliant. And Uma Thurman, how good is she?
I know. I love her.
Fantastic. And the thing was, I can remember from the trailer as well, you've got that little bit of that scene where the whole of the Crazy 88s are all around her. And she just like takes one step and they all take a step back because they know who she is and they know what she's capable of. And that, I love that sort of stuff where they all know the power of her. And then she just cuts through everybody, and there's limbs flying everywhere, and then it flicks to the black and white, doesn't it? In in Kill Bill, I think in the whole bloody affair, it all stays color, or was it?
It was going to, wasn't
or was it like the Japanese version or something? Because you could buy a version. I think it was the Japanese.
It was the Japanese version, wasn't it? That
stayed in color, didn't it? But I think that was to do with the ratings as well.
And again, let's not forget the music in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We forget how great with that band playing, which became a hit. I can't remember the name of the song.
I don't know. I just know it's whoop 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 whoop.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm a school teacher, and there are sometimes when I'm in my classroom and I teach 3rd grade, which is like 8 and 9-year-olds, and they don't know this movie, but I will, when things are getting crazy, I'll walk around going woohoo. When I taught even younger children too, and they're like, what are you humming?
Bring it to when you're allowed to show a film at the end of school term. Put that one on for them.
Or when they are old enough, when they're like in 10 years time, they'll watch it and they'll go, I know that song.
Yeah.
I know that song.
To sing it all the time.
Yeah. Oh my Lord, they've got that to come. Isn't that a wonderful thing to think that they've got to be able to discover these movies for themselves? I mean, they might have already watched them. I don't know. 8 or 9-year-olds, who knows?
Hope not.
Let's hope not. No. Neil, then you're number 4.
So we're going to go to Inglorious Bastards again, and we're going to go to the opening interrogation scene.
Oh,
The whole drinking a glass of milk.
That was definitely on my yes, it's so heart-wrenching too, because when the guy's just sitting there and the tears start going down his face, I was just like, no.
And then it shows you
yeah,
what a complete bastard Christoph Waltz's character really is, and how cold it is. But then that's when you realize then again what a great performance. And we didn't know who he was, did we? I mean, before this movie, I know he'd been acting a while, but nobody knew who he was. And to suddenly have this cold performance, but a fantastic performance, it was like, holy shit, where is this movie going? What what are we going to see and what is going to be done? But just great, just fantastic, brilliant. What a way to open a movie.
I think that's one thing that Tarantino is really good at doing is like kicking you in the balls at the very opening of a movie.
The very opening. Yeah,
because you can say about the Pulp Fiction one. I mean, Tim Roth and Amanda Plummer sat together. There's that one, and that leads in. You weren't expecting that, were you? You just think it was a couple of loved up people, and then everyone. Anyway, we won't.
Yes, I know. So we digress, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just again another great opening.
That was
scene.
that whole bit that was on my my runner-ups was the whole honey bunny, and then at the end the transition from the beginning of Pulp Fiction to the end, where they were in the diner. But
it's the way Christoph Waltz has that milk in that opening scene. It's just, you think, hang on, this is cold. This is cold.
He knows these people are there. He knows he's gonna kill them, but I want to have a glass of milk first. Yeah.
And then you hear the sound of him drinking that milk. It's like really nice. I love it. I love that squelchiness of the sound of him drinking. Oh, dear. Okay, my number 4 actually is Kill Bill 2. This was the one when I'm saying about maybe taking a few liberties. I've got Bill and B chat. So I've gone from the moment that B sees that her daughter is alive to the moment that Bill dies after the 5-finger death palm technique. That whole bit, which is probably, I don't know, 25-30 minutes.
Yeah, but it's still good.
But as writing, as the way that things build, I think it's a genius and a master at work of storytelling. You have the whole, who Superman is and Clark Kent, all of that going on to how B can't understand that Bill would do something like that to her when he's supposed to love her so much. I found it all fascinating. I only watched it last week, I think, Kill Bill 2, and just I hadn't seen it for a while and just loved every single second of it. But that whole bit at the end, and then the fact that she does the 5-finger palm death thing.
5-finger death punch.
5-finger death punch, yeah. And he says, Pai Mei taught you the 5-finger death punch.
Yeah.
It's just great. It's great. And then, and I mean, if you've only got 5 more steps before you die, I mean, you just sit there, don't you? You just let everybody bring everything to you. You don't take those 5 steps. But he decided, no, I'm going to just...
boring film if that hadn't happened, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Kill Bill Volume 7, and he's still sat in the same chair with just like bottles of piss everywhere because he can't be bothered to get up. Oh dear. Right, okay, so Kirsten, then your number 3, please.
My number 3 was the car surfing in Death Proof at the end, where she's doing the car surfing and Mike is trying to kill them. I mean, again, I'm taking liberties by taking that whole end scene because it's the chase. He's trying to kill them. They turn the tables on him and they kill him. And I'm like, yes.
Yes. They just beat the shit out of him at the end, don't they?
So for me, again, that's an example of why, although it's not his best movie, I enjoyed that whole ending. First, I love Zoe Bell. I love when she does stuff in his movies, but also it's just the whole idea that these are strong women that are turning the tables on a serial killer, and they just kicked his ass. I just was like, yes.
And I love the fact that he started using Zoe Bell as an actress rather than just a stunt person, which I thought was great. You know, and I mean, she was amazing in Kill Bill doing all that stuff. But then she was in, I think she was in Hateful Eight, wasn't she? Yeah, she was in.
She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Small part, but
yeah, she was definitely there.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. That's a really, and that's a movie although I've obviously seen the eating scene not long ago, I haven't seen that movie for a long time. And Kurt Russell's one of my favorite actors. I don't think he's one of those guys that just gets better as he gets older.
Yeah.
You know,
great facial hair.
Oh my God. Just not just facial hair, but great hair everywhere. You know,
he's got great hair. Yeah. He's aged well. Like
he has. It's like, I mean, Jeff Bridges, I think, is another one as well.
Yeah, he's another one, isn't he?
So well. God, dear. Bastards. I don't. Right, Neil, you're number 3.
So I'm going to say this, and you'll all know what I'm talking about. Ezekiel 25:17.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I need to say. If you're a Tarantino fan, you will know. But it's the way Samuel L. Jackson delivers this before they fire the shit out of that poor boy. But it was great, wasn't it? Again, it was something you hadn't heard before. This almost like soliloquy, this prophecy out of the Bible. I know it's not word for word out of it, is it? But it's just fantastic. You know, there's not a lot you can say apart from Ezekiel 25:17.
Yeah.
You know.
Is that not? Would you not say that's the most iconic Tarantino bit?
What speech?
I think it is.
It's got to be, hasn't it?
I think if anybody put a reel together of Tarantino bits, that would be the bit that would start it off, wouldn't it? The bit where, you know, and you will know my name is the Lord. But just when Samuel L. Jackson just did that turn, it seems to be the bit that everyone. The clip,
but it's the whole bit at the beginning before you hear him say it when he's having the burger.
Oh,
that's a tasty burger. You must have loved
a tasty burger.
I love that bit though. He makes that burger look so yummy. The way that he bites into it, that squelch of eating that burger, and then the
I noticed how much eating he has.
And again, we see the briefcase. We get to see the briefcase. Anybody have any ideas what they think was in there?
It's like just gold, wasn't it?
A lot of people rumored that it was people's souls.
Oh, right. Okay.
I like to think it's 20 chicken nuggets.
Okay.
They were slowly eating to the microphone.
I wish it was. Wouldn't that be amazing? If it was 20 chicken nuggets that they ate slowly into a microphone.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. My number 3 was the Crazy 88s in Kill Bill. So, Kirsten, we're on to your number 2 then, please.
My number 2, the Bonnie situation from Pulp Fiction. I just found that just so funny because it's the whole, when they're going through the whole thing and he's talking about the coffee and he's like, I know I got good coffee. You know, you don't have to tell me I've got good coffee. Just, they've got a dead person in the trunk of a car. The whole, the way they're talking about it, and they're talking about coffee, and just that whole comedic turn of something that's so horrible. I mean, the way it was in the movie was also funny too, when he accidentally shoots Marvin's head off, but that whole afterwards where they have to like get their ducks in a row and get everything cleaned up before Bonnie gets home because he doesn't want to piss his wife off. It's just like the lengths they're going to not piss his wife off really cracks me up.
And I always want to know where the wolf has been at a party at that time in the morning.
In the tuxedo at 7:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a question, isn't it?
Yes.
But yeah, it makes me laugh when you see Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta in those the t-shirt and shorts they borrowed off of him. It always makes me chuckle. It's that whole scene from shooting Marvin through is just it's great.
I often put myself in that position of Tarantino's character when Mr. Wolf saying, you know, we look after our people, and he's given him all this money because all of these towels are going to get
blankets, are
going to get ruined. And you think, well, if he's trying not to piss off his wife, then these are like they've been handed down from generations.
Yes, they were from aunts.
It doesn't matter what kind of money you're going to give. She's going to get pissed off if all this blood is on these. They're going to have to chuck them out. I would love to have seen the actual situation.
You wanted to see Bonnie.
I wanted to, just see what she thinks when he's going, oh, look, I've got $1,000, but we've not got those those.
We don't have those quilts that your aunt
Yeah,
gave us.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh yeah, and there's blood everywhere, by the way. Just
Oh yeah, pardon the blood and brains.
Oh my lord. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Right, Neil, you said the Crazy 88s in Kill Bill 2.
Yeah, the
Kill
whole
Bill,
of the House of the Blue Leaves.
House of the Blue Leaves. My number 2 is, and from what Neil said earlier on in regards to how Tarantino opens movies, it's the opening scene of Kill Bill when the bride, it's just a black and white harsh shot of a beaten and bloody bride, and you hear Bill saying what he's going to do to her, and then she just about says, Bill, the baby's yours, and then she gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
I was working, we used to finish early on a Friday, and we had this, when we were on earlies, we'd have a movie club. There was like 5 or 6 of us, and we'd go and watch a movie in the afternoon, and Kill Bill was the one. And straight after that scene, you have the fight between Vivica A. Fox and
I
Bride.
loved that one too.
And like when that scene finished, where it finishes with Vivica A. Fox getting like a knife in her chest, I thought, shit, what a start to a bloody movie. I've got no idea what's happening. I've just had like my balls kicked twice in 2 scenes. What the hell is going on? And it really then makes you think, I've got no idea what the rest of this movie is going to be like. If that's the first 15 minutes of the movie, I'm a nervous wreck now. And all I could think of was, I really hope there's a nice eating scene somewhere. I really hope there's someone eating some like French fries or something, please, just to alleviate the pain. But yeah, it's just what a gut wrenching start to a movie. It's just so stark and visceral and unsettling.
I recommend you not watching the film Dumplings, that Japanese film. All right, if you like eating on films, don't watch that one. That might.
Okay, why?
Just research it. I won't say on here.
All right, it's just you saying that is going to make you want to watch the film, isn't it?
I'm intrigued to know.
It's got dumplings for a start. I mean, for God's sake. All right. Yes. The trouble is, you're going to have to look now, aren't we? So, is a dumpling or dumplings? Dumplings.
I think is a different.
Okay. Aunt May's famous homemade dumplings provide amazing age-defying qualities, popular with middle-aged women, but her latest customer, a fading actress, is determined to find out what the secret ingredient is.
Yeah.
I've seen that. That sounds familiar. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I was lent this film, and I was told that I enjoyed a lot of Japanese and Chinese horror, and I was lent this film. It wasn't scary, but yeah, it turned my stomach.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another one. There's a French one where the
is that Raw?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty.
But what a film! That's a great movie.
Yeah, I do. I like foreign horror a lot.
I started to watch that one on Disney Plus. What's it called? The one with Sebastian Stan in.
Fresh.
Fresh. It's not a patch on that one that we just talked about there.
Yeah.
That the raw.
One of the reviews says an exquisite exercise in bad taste. Not exactly a horror film, but definitely not for the squeamish.
No.
Nice.
No.
And the trouble is, they say things like that, and it just makes you want to watch it, doesn't it? That's the
thing.
Well,
take it from me. I've watched it, and I'm quite hardy at these sort of films. That even turned my stomach a little.
Really? Yeah, I'm not going to watch that then. I know the movies you like, Neil, and I'm not going to. If that's turned your stomach, I'm not watching dumplings. I'll just eat dumplings. I won't bother watching.
Yeah, just eat them instead.
Yeah, I'll leave it like that. Okay, so that was my number 2. So before we reveal our number 1s, Kirsten, do you want to just give us a rundown for your 10 to 2, please?
Yes, number 10 for me was Jackie and Max and their kiss at the end of Jackie Brown. Number 9 was Cliff versus Bruce Lee from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Number 8 was the bar scene from Inglourious Bastards. Number 7 was the Candyland shootout from Django Unchained. I still can't say it. Number 6, Mr. Blonde from Reservoir Dogs, cutting off the ear while listening to Stuck in the Middle with You. Number 5 was gouging out Elle's other eye. Number 4 was The Bride versus the Crazy 88. Number 3, Car Surfing and Death Proof. Number 2 was The Bonnie Situation.
Excellent. Neil, your 10 to 2, please.
Okay, so at number 10, I had the shooting of Melanie from Jackie Brown. Number 9, Royale with cheese from Pulp Fiction. Number 8, the diner scene, Like a Virgin and I Don't Tip, that whole section from Reservoir Dogs. Number 7, The Gold Watch, in the ass, Pulp Fiction. Number 6, the Candyland shootout from Django Unchained. Number 5, Booth visits the ranch in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Number 4, the opening interrogation from Inglorious. Number 3, the Ezekiel 25:17 from Pulp Fiction. And number 2, House of the Blue Leaves from Kill Bill Part 1.
Wonderful. Mine is number 10, Pulp Fiction and the Gold Watch.
In the ass.
Thank you, Neil. Number 9, Hateful Eight and the Poison Coffee. Number 9, Hateful Eight and Poison Coffee. Number 8, Reservoir Dogs and the end Mexican standoff scene. Number 7, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and the Spawn Ranch. 6, Inglourious Bastards and the Strudel scene. Lovely eating. 5, Death Proof with Stuntman Mike eating nachos. Even more lovely eating. 4, Kill Bill 2, Bill and B chat. Number 3 is Kill Bill, the House of Blue Leaves fight, Crazy 88s. And at number 2, Kill Bill opening scene where the bride gets shot. So, Kirsten, what is your number 1 Tarantino best movie scene?
This one is for me. I actually had to write down some of the dialogues. I wanted to get it right. Was the scene after Zed and Bruce Willis going medieval on his ass. That's my favorite line. Where he's like, "Are we okay? I am far from okay." But then when he says to him, where did I write the line? He says, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go medieval on his ass with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch."
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that line so much.
Yes, that is a great line.
Yeah.
Marcellus Wallace, isn't it? That's
Marcellus
That's
Wallace,
it.
that's it.
Yeah.
Gonna go over him with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch. He just leaves it to your imagination.
And then that whole scene is when Bruce Willis is picking the weapon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it makes me
I
laugh.
was like, yes, that was funny too. That whole bit.
Mm.
But at the end, when he's broken in and gotten them all, and I am very far from okay.
Yeah.
It's also, like you say, before he picks the weapon, he's got his chance to go, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He opens the door to leave and he realizes, no, I can help myself here. And then it's going from a hammer to a baseball bat, and then he
It's like
sees,
the
what was it?
chainsaw.
Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's the
samurai sword.
Samurai sword in the end, isn't it? Yeah.
Bring out the gimp.
Bring out
That's
the
it.
gimp.
Bring out the
Oh
gimp.
my Lord.
Yeah.
That is so good. That's a great number 1. That's a
It
great
is.
number 1. Go on then, Neil. Your number 1.
So Kristen has already said it. It's the ear cutting scene from Reservoir Dogs. It showed the original Tarantino where he started from all these sort of scenes. I mean, I can't say much more than you've already said. I mean, you summed it up perfectly. What you see more what you don't see. If you know what I mean? And the whole use of that song within it. Michael Madsen has never been so charismatic and interesting to watch. I just think it's the perfect scene. And like you said, there was this huge uproar about seeing something that you hadn't seen, even though they think you did, I was saying, watch the bloody movie and you'd understand.
Yeah. Well, that was the same thing with Pulp Fiction and the whole scene with Zed and the gimp. There's a lot of implied violence, but you don't actually see anything.
Not really. No.
So that was one I had realized too, that it's more the implied violence that makes it worse. It makes it
absolutely.
scarier.
It's what you don't see, and it's your imagination that's creating what is going on.
And that's why people complain, because they think what they've seen in their head is what is actually on the screen.
But Tarantino's the master of it. He really is. He knows how to make your creative juices flow and you to think for yourself. This is why I so enjoyed his writing of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I just think the guy, I wish he'd do it for all his movies now. Go back and write the movie, the novelization of your movie.
Yeah.
Such a good job on Once Upon a Time. So,
I agree. My one is one that has already been mentioned. I think, Neil, you mentioned it. It's the opening scene from Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
I think from the fact that you don't know what Christoph Waltz knows, the same as the farmer doesn't know what Christoph Waltz knows, and you learn the same time as the farmer that he knows that there are people under the under the floorboards.
Yeah.
Obviously, he knows that there are people under the floorboards. We don't know that, but that realization, like you said, Kirsten, when the farmer realizes that he's been caught, and that his eyes just fill up
with tears. That breaks my heart so much. I'm like, oh, that was so.
Because he's being so nice. He is giving him everything, a glass of milk, and he's very nice with him. And let's have a smoke. And he gets his big like Sherlock Holmes pipe out and all of that stuff. But then that realization when he knows he's the cleverest man in the room, and he knows that there are people under there. And the fact that then he will switch how they're talking to English, I think it is.
Yeah.
So that the people under the floorboards have no idea what they're talking about. It's just a masterful writing, masterful performances.
And then created that character to be an evil bastard.
Yes.
So it really did. It set him up to think, holy shit, that's an evil bastard.
But
he's
also
up there with Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, but up there, but he's equal, but he's got no morals, because at the end he's quite happy to flip sides. Just to save himself. So it isn't necessarily something that he believes in. He's just caring about him, just getting the job done. And then when he realizes that his side are going to lose, he wants to give up, but at a price. He wants to be able to make a deal. And obviously Brad Pitt decides that he's going to just carve a swastika in his head, so he can't get away with it the way that he wants.
There's real brutality.
Brutality. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Right, we got a few honourable mentions. So let's just quickly go through these. Nancy Trickle said, why do I gotta be Mr. Pink?
Mr. Pink. That's my husband's. My husband's, that was his favorite. He's like, why do I have to be Mr. Pink?
Yeah, that's right. That's such a good one as well. Lindsay Pan-Annan said, easy, all from Kill Bill 1 and 2. Done, she said. Haha. Larry Sala said, directed, probably Pulp Fiction, with Marvin getting shot in the car by Vinny. That was such an awesome scene. But how about written scene, True Romance with Patricia Arquette and James Gandolfini in the most amazing fight scene. Amazing. That's the one with the corkscrew, isn't it?
It is. That's,
come on, stick me, come on. And then she drives it into his foot. Yeah.
But that's a real brutal beating she gets.
Real brutal. Kim Thomas Simon said the crazy scene in Pulp Fiction with the adrenaline needle after Mia OD'd.
Which is funny. It shouldn't be, but it's funny.
It is funny. Right here.
That was fucking trippy.
At Hugenbard said, not sure if it counts as he didn't direct it, but the scene between Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken in True Romance is just incredible. Failing that, the opening of Reservoir Dogs when they talk about Madonna and tipping. Classic. At Noah Andy, ranch scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, subversion of the expectation that it will end in a bloodbath, and it ends in Tyre getting changed. Genius. Chris Wellinger said he did an episode of ER that was one of the most intense things I've ever seen on network TV.
But he also did the CSI as well, didn't he? Did you watch that, Kirsten?
Did?
The Buried Alive one, whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called now, but that was,
I'll look that up.
Yeah,
I remember that ER. I was one of those people. I watched ER from the first episode to the last, and when he directed that episode, it was so because it was like emergency room stuff, and of course he's doing the close-ups of like the saw, like someone breaks a leg and they need to do a saw, so he does a super close-up of that just because it's Quentin. Because it's him.
And finally, John Church says, so many classics: the ear scene in Reservoir Dogs, the Gimp scene in Pulp Fiction, the Crazy 88s fight in Kill Bill, the bar scene in Inglourious Bastards.
He was funny. I commented on that. I said, you picked like 4 of them.
Yeah. Because I nearly sent the one saying, spoilers, Kirsten, spoilers. You can tell everybody what your top 10 is. But that's it. We've done it. We've done Tarantino's best scenes.
Nice.
And I think all it ends up doing for me is A, makes me hungry, and B, makes me just want to go and watch Tarantino movies. I think that's
I thought you were going to say go and watch dumplings.
No, I'm not going to watch dumplings. I might eat a few dumplings, but I'm definitely not going to watch them. So that's it. Kirsten, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, this was great. Sorry, my
Excellent.
kid poked his head in.
No,
Oh,
don't
no,
worry.
that was
Don't
sweet.
worry. You can come and join us next time. Look.
Yeah, he can do his top 10 Tarantino films.
Yes. And hopefully you'll come and join us again.
Oh, I would love to.
Yeah. So we'll do the Tom Cruise movies next time then. That'll be fun.
Top 10 Tom Cruise scenes. Yeah.
And we want to thank you for your support. It really means a lot to us. So thank you so much for that. Neil, do you want to tell everybody how they can get in touch with us? And then
Of course I can. So come and join us on all the social media sites. Give us a click, give us a follow at Top 10 Pods. Email us at toptenpods@hotmail.com for any suggestions, questions, whatever you may want to ask us. Come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/Top 10 Pods. There's all sorts of rewards. You can come and get your mitts on. Check out all of our links via the Linktree. You can just get the link in the notes below. And please come and subscribe and leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcast from. Come on.
Wonderful. That was lovely. Well, that was one of the most fun I've had doing the podcast, I must admit, because it was just three Tarantino fans shooting shit about his greatest scenes. I think it was absolutely fantastic.
It is. Talk about it for hours, really.
That's the thing.
Just keep going and going.
And like I say, I do feel we've missed a chance here to get 10 episodes out of this one idea.
I know.
Instead of just shooting it all into one episode,
So you see.
Well, we could always have a break off, couldn't we?
Things out, move them around.
Yeah.
Your next 10 favorite Tarantino scenes.
Because we could easily do it again and have 10 completely different scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a doubt. Or we just pick a different director and we go 10 favorite whatever scenes. Yeah. Kirsten, thank you so much.
Thank
you so much. Neil, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pav. Thank you very much, Kirsten. Been a joy, an absolute joy.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. And let's go start the countdown.
10,